Brandraising is a term that evolved, and really, what sounds like it's about branding, it's also about fundraising. It's in some ways an analogy for barn raising. Communicating effectively, much like raising a barn, is something that takes a team effort, and particularly in today's kind of noisy, multi-channel, eclectic world, it's not just the job of the communications people to communicate well, it's everybody's job to communicate well in a nonprofit. So Brandraising is a model that we developed that I wrote this book about, and it shows how your vision and your mission and the things in your organization's strategic plan actually are connected to day-to-day communications, and it links together branding, your website, everything you do into one holistic framework. The first one is the organizational level, and that's the stuff that impacts all aspects of your communications. It's really the stuff of strategic planning. It's your vision, your mission, your audiences, your objectives. We add to that level positioning and personality, which we think are the core to a successful communication strategy. The second level is the identity level. That's the stuff that most people think of when they think of branding. That's your visual identity, but also your messaging platform. And then the third level, the bottom slice, is the experiential level. And we call it the experiential level because it's the way that your core audiences, your members, your donors, etc., experience you. It's your website, print, online, all that stuff. It's such a great question, and it's one that I've spent a lot of time thinking about. I think the real challenge that nonprofits face is that most people who go into the nonprofit sector go into it because they're really mission driven and they're really passionate about a particular issue. They're not necessarily people who've studied marketing or communications. I have yet to meet somebody who says, when I grow up, I want to be a fundraiser, and so learning principles of effective communications turns out for most people in the nonprofit sector to be a set of skills you have to kind of develop like graduate school. It's not something you kind of set out, initially to learn. The next big thing is definitely mobile. Right now, I think more organizations than ever are sort of waking up to the fact that their core audiences, particularly their clients and their members, are viewing their websites and communicating with them through their mobile device. But in Europe and Asia and Africa, text programs are much more pervasive than they are in the US. So just the way 5 years ago we sat around sort of banging our heads against the wall because we hadn't been collecting email addresses, right now we should really be collecting cell phone addresses, not necessarily calling or texting people yet, but capturing that because the cell phone is going to be the constant. Young staff members are awesome because they are digital natives. They speak the lingua franca of the internet, of social media, and sometimes they understand the online world's etiquette and sort of common parlance, what is or isn't appropriate, a lot better than some of their older peers. I'm a big believer that everybody has something to contribute in the organization, and I tend to discourage organizations from just seeing younger staff members as sort of the online people or all of that. I'm sure that most people would agree. A bright idea is a bright idea, whether it comes from the junior-most person on the team or the senior-most person on the team.